Hello and welcome to Navigating the Chapters of Challenge with Tele. Today I've got my friend Eme Bassey in the house, and we're going to have a really interesting conversation. Before I ask Eme to introduce herself, I just wanted to say that Eme is the author of several books. I'm going to read the names of all her books. God, I have the names somewhere now. Okay, Eme, tell us the names of all your books and introduce yourself, because I can't find where I wrote the names.
My first book was, I wrote a book, I called it Talk to the Shoe.
Okay,
And
yes.
then that was in 2006, but then I forgot about the book. Then I republished it in 2015,
Yeah.
like 9 years later,
Yes.
as The Pursuit. And then after that, I wrote a book when I was a cake decorating tutor, 30 Ways to Sell Your Cakes. And then another one which just came out last month. It's called the Vivid Story Method. So it's how to write exceptional emails and using storytelling tactics.
Storytelling
It's more of
tactics.
a textbook.
Yeah. And I like the title of the book, The Pursuit. I have it, I found it now. It says, The Pursuit, get started, keep going, be unique, be unstoppable. That is
Yes,
absolutely an amazing title. I wish that was my book.
yeah,
I wish I
it's
cocould steal that
yeah,
title
it's
from
by
you. What
I don't
inspired
know
that
what was
title?
I think it's yeah, I think I felt I was self development kind of personal development book, encouragement
Yeah.
generally, so they were often things that I'll write in my journal or notes that I write to myself, and then things I was learning. Talked about different things, find your voice, talk about creativity, talk about things that trip us up, procrastination,
Yeah.
how to eat an elephant one step at a
Mm.
time, how to, forget about the past, and basically all those things that keep us going,
Mm.
but it was also based on a conversation that I was having with my shoes. So my shoes were, or my trainers were kind of like giving me words of advice, and
Okay.
yeah, words of advice and encouragement. Oh, be like me. I know how to run. I know how to walk. I know how to jump. I know how to whatever. And then it's interesting that you're making me talk about this because I hardly ever do. But what was interesting was that it ended with almost like a what do they call it? Like what do they do at the end of church when you call somebody to
Benediction? Oh, altar
call
call.
to altar call? Yes,
Okay.
like an altar call. So after all the motivation and everything, here is the trainers, trying to say that look, even though you can be like me, but that you cannot really do what they are meant to do unless somebody owns you, unless somebody is wearing you, so it's like you and God is, putting, he has you and you are, I mean, you're able to express who you are and all you are just because you belong to somebody and
Mm.
he can do many things through you
Through you.
that he couldn't
Wow.
do on earth, so things like that.
Wow.
It was
Really interesting. I must
quite
get a copy of that book. So, before we go any further, what do you do as in terms of career? What's your career path? What
okay.
exactly?
Uh,
Because I know you wear many hats.
what
That's
do
why
I
that's
do?
why I asked that
Oh
question.
God,
I
the
know you wear
magic
many
question.
hats.
Well, let me put on the official hat. I am an email marketing
Strategist.
specialist.
Okay.
Yes, so that's what I do. That's what I aim to be known for as
Okay.
to concentrate on story-driven email marketing. So many things have led me to this point where I feel that this is where I would have the most impact. Most businesses use or could benefit from better email marketing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes email marketing effective is if you are able to have get the attention that you need through emails. We all are bombarded by emails.
Mm.
There are some that actually stand out in our inbox, some
Mm.
things that, so that's where storytelling comes in, and I believe that storytelling can be a big part of getting people's attention, which is probably the reason also why I got your attention,
Yes,
because
that's
I was
exactly.
very intentional, about, I said to myself, I said, I keep telling my parents to tell their story. I need to also tell my story,
Yes, yes,
and many people know me from different parts of my journey in life.
yeah,
I'm not a spring chicken,
yeah,
as they say,
yeah,
so I've lived a few lifetimes,
yeah.
and so many people know different parts of
Of
me,
you,
they
yeah.
met me at some point in my journey, and so
Mm.
they don't know the whole thing. And
Mm.
so it's kind of like trying to bring a thread that now weaves through the whole thing to
Thing,
say, okay,
yeah.
this is where I started, and this is where, this is where the journey took me, and this
Mm.
is where I am now.
Mm.
So that it kind of makes logical sense to say,
Logical
okay, this
sense.
is where I started, but this is where I am now. So
So
yeah.
you actually brought us to the point where I'm just going to tell the audience what we're talking about today. And we're talking about resilience, about being able to just get back from when you fall down, being able to get up and go again. And I think that Emma's life story just tells that in a beautiful way. And I know that when you listen to her story, it would really, really impact you. So Emma, you're going to tell us your story,
Oh
everything,
wow.
or whatever you want to share with
Well, I
the
don't know.
audience.
I wish I could say, oh, go and read it here, or go and read it there.
So you need to write a
I'll
book
tell you
about
what
that.
happened. What happened? I just published this book called The Vivid Story Method, and it's
Yeah.
really nice book. It talks about storytelling and talks about these are the different ways to hacks that you can use to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the book recently, and I looked through the book, and I was like, Emma, you did not even say a single word about yourself.
See?
So, like, if the normal thing in the book would be like, oh, I am this person, and this is the reason why this book. So
Yeah.
I literally did. To me, I just made it like a textbook to say, if
Yeah.
you want to learn this, this is what to do.
Mm.
Step one, step two,
Mm.
step three. But I never said anything about myself. So I was like, I need to put my story out there.
You do.
So yeah, and I mean, I'm always telling people, oh, you need to tell your story, and I help people tell their stories. I believe God puts me on earth to help people tell their stories,
Yeah.
and I don't say this like the something that, how when you people ask, oh, what's your purpose? What's your
Mm.
purpose?
Mm.
And for many years I was asking that, Lord, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? And I think it was in 2012 um that I knew.
Okay.
I don't want to become very spirit and say how I heard, but I
Hey.
knew that, okay, yes, I'm here on earth to help people tell their story.
Yeah.
So obviously now it's now a case of, okay, so what does that look like?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing, sometimes God just he'll say something to you, and then it takes you a while to unpack it, and
Yeah. To
think,
even
yeah,
understand it sometimes.
so even understand, yeah, I know. So yes, I've had one or two of those things. You might just say two words, and then it takes you 3 years to understand what you were saying.
Mm.
But anyway, my story starts. I was born in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and I was born to so I don't have rags to riches story. I was born to a nice middle class family, as they call them.
Yeah.
My dad was a professor of surgery. My mom was a teacher. She did very well in education. By the time she retired, she was already a director, and I think she even won some. What's that thing that they give to? She was anyway. She did very
Awards?
well in her. Yeah, she won some that one that the presidents give.
I don't know.
Fellow of the something something
Okay.
of the Niger,
No.
one of those
Yeah.
things, like an MBE here.
Okay.
So yeah, I was, I was brought up by those kind of people, so I didn't feel any sense of lack or anything, and I was doing well in school as well. I was very brilliant in school, even if I say so myself,
Mm.
so I was brilliant in school, always top of my class and that kind of thing. So everybody had high hopes for me,
Yeah.
but then come year three in medical school, after I secondary year three in medical school, I kind of I lost interest in the course,
Mm.
and I just didn't know. In fact, it's funny because even though I dropped out of medical school in my third year, by the time it was second year, I was already like what's that word now? I boycotted the exams.
Okay.
So we had these major exams, they call, I think second MB is called. I boycotted the exam. I was like, I don't want to take this exam. I don't want to do this course any longer. But then
Mm.
people said, oh no, you need to do it. So I actually went back, repeated the year, and
Okay.
then took the exams, but I didn't pass.
Okay.
So by then, if you fail it twice, I think you fail it twice, you're out.
Mm.
So that's what now
Happened.
took me home, and I
Okay.
said to my parents that I want to be a photographer. That is what
Sorry,
I
a photographer.
yes, I
From
want to be a
medicine to
photographer.
photography. How
Yeah,
did they
that's what I want.
react?
God
Typical
bless
African
them is
parents.
all
How
I
did they
no, God
react?
bless them. God bless them is all I'll say. God bless my mother, God bless my brother. You know, I mean God I sometimes I just think to myself, I just wonder, well, that's as they're looking at me, because I'm just a but then I was what 19, so I
Yeah.
went into university early. I went in at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I was 19, so I was just living my life and doing me without thinking of other people or not thinking about the consequences or thinking about how does it affect, what does it look like. All I knew was I want to be a photographer and it made sense to me. So my mom says, okay, we'll look for a photography school, but then there was nothing like that. So she was like, oh, let's look. We have some people in Unilab, let's see where we can find you a mass communication or something like that. So um, we couldn't get something in mass communication. So that was the closest to what I said I wanted to do, which is media.
Yeah.
So eventually they got me a place, or we got a place in psychology, and that's how I ended up with a psychology degree.
Okay.
Having said all that, I just believe the hand of God was in everything, and I believe the hand of God was in everything, it's God is God's hand is on you even when you don't know him.
Yeah.
Let me put it like that.
Yeah.
Even when you don't know him, even when you are just going along, trying to do your thing, and even if you're not in rebellion, but you're just living your life in ignorance,
Mm.
God's hand is on you. So anyway, so that's how I finished that psychology degree. Somewhere in there, I ended up also being the single mom of two.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a boyfriend in the university, and we met in uni. Then at some point I got pregnant, and then in fact, so many, so many. You want to hear all the gory details?
Why not? If you're ready to tell us the stories, why not? You're a
Yeah, I got
storyteller. You
pregnant.
tell us the story the way you want us
Yeah,
to
I
hear
got
it.
pregnant in I think that was year three. What actually helped
So year
me
three
was that
while you were studying
yes, I
psychology.
was psychologist. I was in
Okay.
year three, then I got pregnant. Then somewhere in there, we had those strikes. They called
Okay.
them Babangida breaks
Okay.
of
Yeah.
that time,
Yeah.
like early 90s,
Yeah.
and so my my classmates in school didn't know I was pregnant because by the time the schools went on strike and everybody went home, and then Abiola and NCO Abiola and all the riots and everything and all the unrest and everything, and everything was kind of shut down, almost very similar to our COVID.
Yeah.
There was like a lockdown,
Yeah. I remember that
for
was
for
in
several
June
several
12th.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
June
my
12th.
daughter was born in August
Okay.
of that June 12th period.
Yeah.
So we kind of stay so that way because I don't think I would have been able to still be a student up to the end of my pregnancy and then all that kind of thing. So, but God's grace just helped me so that I was able to go home and then have my baby, and then we'll have her for a few months and then come back to school,
Mm.
when finally, schools reopened, that
Mm.
kind of thing. So that's
How did your parents react to you getting pregnant? Because you were their child who was doing so well, doing well in
their
school,
star
their star
child.
child, and all of a sudden you just went completely in the opposite direction. How did they react to that?
um, it's I think above everything, and I'm only saying it from my own. It's a question that you should ask them, but I always, with hindsight and everything, I just think, they just thought there was acceptance,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
good.
there was acceptance because they kind of already knew that I had this boyfriend and he was known to the family and that kind of thing. And, so we had been going on for maybe, I don't know, a year or so, so when I got pregnant, it was more a case of, oh, so what do you want to do kind of thing?
Okay.
What are you going to do? Blah, blah,
Not the
blah,
typical African parents
uh,
then.
but he was also young. I think he too was at that time maybe doing his youth service or something, so it was just we were just both too young for us for anything, you know. And having said that, when my daughter was born, she was like the light of the family,
Oh.
so everybody fell in love with her. It's like, oh, you will just go and do whatever it is you want to do, thank you for this gift that you've given us,
Mm.
but people should go and sort out their lives kind of thing, so that's how I had my daughter, and then by the time I came back from my youth service, I was expecting my son. But the interesting thing about that was that a few months before that, I had given my life.
Okay.
So yeah, so that kind of also changed not so much the happenings, but changed my perspective
Okay. Of
of
life.
things. Let me tell you something. Let me give you an example. And I hope this helps somebody. When I first got born again, I still had the boyfriend. I still was going out with him. So I got born again in January of 1994. I remember
Mm.
was when I got born again. But obviously, I had my son. Funny enough, his birthday is in a few days, 3 days or so. He's turning 30. So I had him a year later, a year after. So obviously, I got pregnant for him after I was born again.
Yeah.
When I got born again, it's such a stupid story to tell. It's so silly, but I didn't know, and it sounds so silly to say, but I didn't know that you couldn't have a boyfriend if you're born again Christian. I did not know that you could not sleep with your boyfriend if you're a born again Christian.
How did you not know?
I was, I said, you are asking that because you've been born again for years. They're like,
Ah,
everybody should know
no, I'm
that.
just wondering
No,
because I think it's
it
one of the
was,
things they used to drum in our ears. One of the first few things they used to say to you: "No sex, no
no,
sex, no sex." So how did you not know?
it was only there was a day that this lady came from church, and because I was still living. No, no, no. I wasn't. I did the no sex, no sex. I had the no sex, no sex, no sex. But um, I was still living with my boyfriend. I was still living with my boyfriend. And one day this woman just comes to me and she says to me, I still remember her. What's her name again? Esther or something. You know. And she just sat me down and explained to me, say, you can't live with your boyfriend. And I was like, oh, really? She said, yes, you're Christian now. This is not how we do it. I was like, oh. So, and that's how I moved out. It wasn't, I just was clueless. You know, it was, I was just clueless anyway. Let me just put it like that. And I
Yeah.
guess we were, like really, because interestingly, as when I got born again, she got born again around the same time,
Okay.
not at the same place in the same venue or anything. Just so happened that God found us both at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what happened. A lot of people ask me, and I'll quickly answer this question. oh, you people had two children, why didn't you get married, and it just wasn't to be. It wasn't meant to be. By the time I was ready, he wasn't ready. By the time he was ready, I wasn't ready, and then, yeah, so we were not, it just wasn't meant to be,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
so we kind
So,
of moved on, you know, moved on, remained cordial, also have a cordial relationship even to this day. My kids live with him at the moment from the age of 5 or 6. They went to live with him
okay.
and his wife when he married.
Yeah.
They went to live, so they have a stepmom as well as me.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's so they're very well integrated into his
His
family,
family. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. So they
yeah.
have a relationship with their dad.
Oh yeah,
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 that's
they
good.
do. So they're there. They live with their dad at the moment. They're working they live in Lagos. They work. My son is let me make you laugh. My daughter is a photographer
Oh, wow.
and
Because
a
you never ended
filmmaker.
up being a photographer, did you?
No, no, no. She's a photographer and a filmmaker, and she
Oh,
does
wow.
very well. She does
Oh,
very well.
uh,
And then my son's a music producer.
oh, nice. So
Yeah,
they all
yeah.
went along the creative path as well. That's
Yes,
good. That's
yes,
good.
very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So
yeah.
from then, after you had your son and everything, how the story progress? What happened after that?
I
Because
think
you
it was
didn't
at
become a
that time when
photographer.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't become a photographer. The
Did you work
interest
with
was
your
always
psychology
there.
degree?
Um, no, who works with their degree really? I think the main thing for me, and I say that was the time when I became an entrepreneur. All I knew was that I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be able to work from home.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is as far back as 1995. So
Mm.
I had my kids. So anything that gives me the opportunity to work from home, um, or to be able to be my own boss, or to kind of like
Do
almost like
your own
have
thing.
that flexibility,
Yeah.
was what I gravitated towards. So I did have jobs, that I worked in Port Harcourt. Um, like I said, I was selling mobile phones, with speakeasy cellular systems. And we had that was the days of the 090, not 9 not mobile phones, the
Okay. The
olden days mobile
old
phones.
mobile
Yeah,
phones. The
one of the
first
very first ones
generation,
that came to Nigeria.
first
Yeah,
generation
when
mobile phones.
yeah, the mobile phone where one mobile phone will cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of naira, and but yeah, so I did that for a while, but then I had picked up this or had developed this I started bookbinding. At that
Okay.
time I didn't have a name for it, you
Yeah.
know. I didn't know what it was. All I knew was that I wanted to make books and I wanted to cover them with African fabrics,
Okay.
and it was a it was how will I explain it? It was like miraculous is the only way I can explain. It was a miraculous work of the Holy Spirit
Mm.
teaching me,
Yeah.
and I think that's what has happened to me in business, where I've learned to lean on the Holy Spirit,
Mm.
and he's been teaching me. So let me jump forward. When I came to the UK in 2004, I'd been making notebooks. I was very good by then at it, and I said to myself, well, I'm here in the UK, it's called bookbinding. Let me go and look for a professional bookbinder
Yeah.
to teach me, take me through the steps,
Yeah.
and maybe
Some
if there's any
training.
gaps, some training or whatever, all these are people that either they studied in Oxford or they went to Italy, or all those different places where they do bookbinding. And I went there, and honestly, every single thing that he showed me, I already knew.
Okay.
Every single tool, every single material, every single technique, every single everything. And it's not as if the Holy Spirit will teach you on one day. It's not
Mm.
as if you say, "Oh, sit down here. This is what you do. Step
Mm.
one, step two, step three." It's more like um, when you go somewhere, one person says, "Oh, this is the name of the thing." Maybe you don't even know the name of the thing that you're looking for, and they say, "Oh, it's called this kind of glue is the best glue, for this and this kind of this is what you do." So I'll buy paper, the market, and I'll go to the other place when they cut the paper. I went out.
So you just figured it out somehow
Yeah,
with the help of the Holy
paper, then
Spirit.
I'll go another place where they staple the paper. Then later I'm like, oh, this staple paper doesn't work. Let's see whether we can sew it with needle and thread. Oh, not normal needle and thread. So you just kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
As you go along, and it did very well. We were in shops, nice shops like Quintessence in Palomar Shopping Center, and different, shops, and when they had these trade fairs and things like that, they would call us to come and
To exhibit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think even as I tell the story, I think there was just something about me that was, when you talk about resilience, there's something about me that was almost like somebody that has blinders. So I wasn't really too concerned about, oh, what do people say about me, or what, what would they think about me, or I wasn't that self-conscious, let me put it like that. I wasn't that self-conscious about things, So it's almost, my friends say, oh, maybe my friends will say, oh, you're very stubborn. I'm like, it's not as if I'm stubborn. It's just like you see something and you want to do the thing, And because of that, you don't. I think also it's probably the way I was brought up. I didn't have any of those kind of hang-ups, so I didn't feel that there was any place that I couldn't go into. There wasn't any place anybody I couldn't talk to, or so I had that. Let me not say I had. It's more like I didn't have any of those hang-ups. So I was able to say, if I have an idea, I just go for it. In fact, I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, some of the things that I want to do now, some of the vision of the things that I want to do now, when I look around me, it's only, I see that the only people I can see doing it are, sorry, Alex, white men, And the people I see around me doing it, and I'm talking about people who are doing it in this space and doing it very well.
Doing well,
This is what I want to do, So these are there are not even women there, So it's like.
So you need to jump in quickly.
I'm like, so so another part of me is like, oh, what are you thinking? You're trying to do what? Look around you. The people that are doing it are like 30-something-year-old white men, and you are there, this 55-year-old African woman who spends most of the time in her kitchen with her laptop. I used to say you want to do it as well, but it doesn't, I don't, it doesn't hold me back. I think that's the luck. That's the luck or the blessing, that I've had, that I've never I've never really had some of those things. But having said that, because obviously when you, in this journey, the story continues. I eventually get married, and I relocate to the UK, and kind of start over again in the UK with my husband. We've been together now, 20 years. But back then, and he also, so we have a blended family. So he also has his
children
from and grandchildren now.
Okay.
So we have this blended family situation, and it's an odd situation, but it looks like an odd situation, but for us, both of us, it's
just
like,
right.
It's just just normal, and then even when we discovered that our boys were autistic, and having to grapple with that. I think the point I'm just trying to make is that there's this there's this kind of acceptance. I've always had this struggle of I don't want to tell people that I would tell anybody who is around me that I have autistic children, but I never wanted to use that as part of my story because I didn't want it to be my identity, and I didn't want it to be that. I didn't want anybody to pity me or say, oh, either pity me or say, oh, she's so strong, she's so this, okay. So I didn't want that to be like this badge of honor or whatever. We just because I feel everybody has something that they're dealing with or grappling with. So everybody has their own story. So I just didn't want that to be like a big part of my story. Having said that, it's not as if it's been all rosy and everything. It's a very difficult. It's a very difficult situation, But you just there's just you have to find the acceptance there, the love, the laughter, and everything, and then you just get on with it, So so that's what brought me to the UK. Got married, and then let me tell you a funny story for your guest.
Okay.
So
we are listening. They are listening.
Listen, my last born is 19, he's 20 this year.
Okay.
When I came to the UK, I came to do my master's. So I was doing my master's at London Metropolitan University. I was doing international human resource management. All this is
so from medicine to medicine to photography to psychology to international.
So I had my degree. So I was like, oh, let me come and do my master's, And then of course, I was coming also to meet my coming to be with my husband, who was then my fiance. And so when I came, I was here for 3 months. Yeah, I was here for 3 months. Then he went to Nigeria. So I was like, okay, so just this, I hope this is it. Anyway, let me tell the story. So I was like, when you go to Nigeria, please buy me birth control pills because the ones that are here are very expensive. So I think the last time we had to buy it was like 30 something pounds. So I was like, when you go to Nigeria, just buy me birth control pills so that we don't have any accidents. We don't want to tell any story or anything like that. I've seen in school and we're not ready for whatever, And so according to him, he says he was at the airport. He was on his way to the airport, coming back to the UK. He said he went into the pharmacy and he picked up the pills that he was supposed to buy for me. And he looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. And then his friend says to him, let's go, it's time to go to the airport. And he drops the thing and runs out of the pharmacy, enters the taxi and jumps onto the plane and comes back to the UK. And that is how I got pregnant.
So we have to blame his friend for not letting him take it. Let's blame his friend.
He didn't know. He was just thinking, should I buy? What kind of question is that? You know how it is when you send your husband. Just this one thing I'm asking you. Only one thing.
And he couldn't bring it.
Just this one thing. Yeah. But
wow.
I think about that, it's so...
It was ordained by God anyway.
It was almost like just the flip of, I don't even know how they explain the thing, but like, if that hadn't happened, I would not have my son today,
Well.
And I actually would not have it any other way. Having my son, with all the challenges and everything, I actually wouldn't have it any other way. Having him or having them has changed our lives and shaped our lives at the same time.
That's brilliant.
It has,
brilliant.
So. But it was just like a split decision. It was just like one small decision just changes the whole
trajectory of your life.
Anyway,
so there's a question I wanted to ask you, and I don't want to forget. So let me quickly ask that question now. So I was listening to your podcast. So for those of you who don't know, Eme is also a podcast host. She hosts a podcast titled Email Writers Unique Life Story or something like that.
Lab. Email Writers Lab.
Email Writers Life. Yes. Lab. That's it. Email Writers Lab. Okay. So, and I was listening to one of the episodes of your podcast, and you were talking about starting all over again, you know.
Mm.
And I just wanted you to talk about that because there are people here who are listening to what you've been talking about, and it's been from medicine, like we said, from medicine to photography to starting all over again. What kind of mindset do you need to be able to
uh,
start all over again, even when life knocks you down? What is it that you need to have to get you going again? You know, push yourself up and keep going.
sometimes I feel as if I'm always starting over,
Okay.
you know. And it's interesting because what I, I spend a lot of time writing, and I spend a lot of time making my notebooks. I love making, so I have, like, as I'm sitting down now, I have one, two, three notebooks beside me. If you go outside, my notebooks are everywhere. You know, I'm
Mm.
always writing. If I have an idea, I write it down. You know, and so for me, there's always that thing of, a blank page. So the blank page, like having that blank page, is almost like a furnace. It could be anything.
Mm.
So the starting over um, is, like I said, it's like you giving a second chance.
Yeah.
You know, a second chance. And for me, it was like being given a second chance. I took myself off and went and got me a job. So when I started working with Shala, let me just take it back. When I started working in the digital marketing, started having clients, I'll do websites, I'll do different things for people. I spent a few years, or quite a few years, also working in the church, the media department, everything, websites, social media, everything, you know. Um, at a point, I said to myself, "Oh, this is not working. I want to have a 9 to 5 job. I want to be normal like everybody. Can I not just have a job and blah blah blah?" And so I took myself off to get a job. And um, so I got a job, close prior, wound up clients, and so I had no clients, and in that process, that lasted. I had two jobs actually. One maybe 2 years ago, let's say over the past 2 years. So my job ended 2 3 months ago. So now my job has ended 2 3 months ago, and I said to myself, it's time for you to do this thing,
Mm.
do this business.
Mm.
You've been gathering the skills, you've gathered
Mm.
the experience.
You've got loads of experience.
Yeah. So come, and it's time for you to do, and you kind of also come to a point where you say, okay, this is actually what I'm good at, and this is what
Mm.
I want to be known for, and this is
Mm.
what I want to do.
Mm.
So that is where the starting over
Over.
now comes into,
Yeah.
and because also I've also seen a lot of the mistakes and the things that we do when we're trying to become seen or heard or known in
Mm.
the online space. There's a lot of distractions, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, the shiny
Oh
objects.
my
Oh
God,
God,
I'm a big
I am.
I fall victim of that all the time. All the
Yeah,
shiny
it's like,
objects.
yeah, preaching to the choir. If it is that, if it is that, people are tired of me. They'll be like, and my friends are tired of me. Like, you can teach this thing that you're going to learn. I say, it's a course. I have to be trying to explain. I need to take this course. They'll say, you can teach this
The
course.
amount of money I've spent on
Yes.
courses, God help me. I could have built a house in my
In
village.
fact, so let me even say, sound a word of warning to anybody who is listening to this, because I think it's a trap of the enemy,
Yeah.
honestly. I say, and I say it half jokingly, but there's that thing of, um, when you are trying to do something, you stop trusting yourself, so you believe in people's formulas, what is
Yes.
the formula to do this, you do this, you do this, and they come with so much certainty and everything. So you don't remember to trust yourself. You don't
Mm.
remember to trust um
Your own
your own
intuition.
intuition, your own knowledge,
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
whatever. So you put your trust in these people, and
Mm.
there's that insidious thing that they say. It's almost as if, oh, there's this little piece missing
Yes.
in
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's this little piece missing, or there's this thing that you don't have, that,
Mm.
oh, if only you had this thing. So there's that thing of, when people say, you start thinking, I'm not enough, I'm not good
Yeah.
enough, I need more of this, I need more of that. So this is what
Mm.
I'm telling
Imposter
myself,
syndrome.
with those things. It's like, um you already have enough, you already have what you need.
Mm.
I mean, I've had situations where, in fact, my friend laughed at me so much. I was listening to a thing about, the person was talking about a book. The book was called, Great Leads.
Yeah.
So a lead is, when you write an
Like a lead
advert, or
magnet.
you, exactly, write an advert, or the beginning of an email, or the
Yeah.
beginning of a story, the first sentence, or even
Yeah.
an article in the newspaper, the first paragraph,
Yeah.
where that there's a way you can write it that will really draw people into the thing,
Mm.
So the person was talking about it on the video, and blah blah blah, great leads, something 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 something, So I was like, great leads, I'm going to buy the book. So off I went to Amazon to buy the book, only to discover that I had bought the book in July of 2016.
So you already had
I
the
said,
book.
the same book, I have already bought the book.
Oh.
I've not read the book.
Mm.
But there's somebody, and I go rushing to buy the book, and find that I bought the book. It's happened to me many times.
Yeah.
You join one course, it's not like, oh, I joined this course in 2021.
Mm.
So there's that thing. So, but starting over, for me, when I said, okay, this is now not a case of just what do I want to do, but it's more a case of what do I not want to do.
Mm.
So how am I going to keep it simple, so that I can keep myself accountable,
Yeah.
and that's why I now thought about those three things, which have kind of skipped my mind, but basically
You said
to
something about
trust,
keeping it
to take
simple.
responsibility,
Yeah. Taking responsibility and
so
focus.
everything is my fault. If anything that's happened to me is my fault, any situation I see myself, I am the cause of it.
Yeah.
And if I'm the cause of it, then I'm also the solution
The solution.
to
Yes.
it. So that was
Yeah.
the first thing. And then the second one was that I want to focus on the outcomes.
Yeah.
Focus. Do not focus on the
On the
outcomes. Focus
outcomes.
on the actions.
On the actions.
So the actions are like to be consistent.
Yeah.
To show up.
Yeah.
To get in touch, to do all those kind of things, to follow
Yeah.
up. So just focus on the things that you need to do, and do not take your mind off
The outcome.
the outcomes. Because again, in the internet space, with the noise and everything, there's people who tell you, oh, you can make this amount of money in 3 weeks.
You can make
and make this in 2
pounds
days,
in 5 seconds.
kind of thing, So if you kind of like listen and take that in, and try to follow those kind of formulas and solutions, you might find yourself in trouble,
trouble.
And if you can remind me what the third thing, but yeah, I just told myself these are the three things I'm gonna do in starting over.
Starting over. So what is the greatest?
Is an exciting thing, so it's not something to be afraid of.
Afraid of,
it's
okay.
Actually something that is exciting, because there's so much that
you can discover about yourself also, I think. Yeah. So Eme, Alex wants to ask a question. Alex, for all those who don't know, is my tech guy. I'm DJ Alex. And he wants to ask Eme a question. He's been enjoying the talk so much, so he wants to ask a question. So go on.
Hi, Eme. This question is, what inspired you to become a writer?
I never really called myself a writer until a friend of mine asked me to contribute to his magazine. This was probably early 90s, or sometime in the mid 90s. I was living in Port Harcourt. He had this magazine, I can't remember the name, Kairos, so Kairos magazine. He's still my friend today. His name is Dr. Stanley. So he made me, he's a reverend now in Akure also. So he asked me to write for the thing, and I wrote this article, and it was good. Even I could tell it was good, And I think when I think about that, I think sometimes you have a gift, you don't realize you have a gift. So you have this gift, it's given to you by God, like almost like he puts this thing in your hand, and then it's up to you to develop it or just leave it there. So that's where the seed of that started.
Okay.
Yes, and then of course I learned the importance of keeping a journal by listening to Jim Rohn. So I would always write things down, and I found, I think I have a busy brain, so I would write things down when I have thoughts, when I learn things. I'm one of those people that when I'm in church, I'm writing what as you're hearing from the pastor, you're also hearing your own thoughts and also what the Holy Spirit is saying. So you kind of I got into that thing. So, and then of course picked up the discipline as well. Yeah. So
Following on from that, sorry, you mentioned busy brain, and I just had to ask this question: how do you calm your busy brain down? Because I'm one of those who's exactly the same. My brain is thinking 3,000 things at the same time. My children say to me, "Mommy, calm down, calm down." You've asked me,
really,
"Mommy, calm down." You're like going so fast. You're far ahead. So how do you deal with that? How do you calm? How do you calm
who
it
said I
down?
would help with it? Who said I would help with it? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I think on paper I write a lot.
Yeah.
So half the things I write are not for printing. Half the things I write are like plans and
Dreams.
steps. It's kind of like steps, or kind of like making sense of something. So you're writing it out. Sometimes if I have a problem, I can come to paper with it several times. So different version, but the same problem. I'm working it out on paper, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do it this way. Oh, I should do it that way. But yes, I do understand having a busy brain.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to calm it down. Well,
Uh,
and we may not
I
need to calm it down.
recommend the book. I would recommend a
Apparently,
book. It's called Faster Than Normal.
Sorry?
Uh,
Faster
the
than
book is
normal.
called Faster Than Normal.
Okay. Oh,
It's
look at
actually
that one.
about a guy who has ADHD,
Okay.
and he talks about how he uses his ADHD to his advantage to build businesses and
Wow.
kind of thing, But it's still that same thing. You have to exercise it now. You have to. It's not like you can shut it
You
down. It's more
can't.
like you have to almost wear it out, kind of thing, channel it, but not you're not so much calming it down. I don't think there's a way to
To
calm it
calm
down.
it down. Okay.
Well, that's just my opinion anyway.
I was told to listen to classical music.
Oh, okay. Classical
Yeah,
music.
so I hear.
Okay.
There's sometimes like like these earphones. If I show you the earphones, they're like really ragged, really ragged. If you see the whatever, they're really ragged. So sometimes I just put it on and put on some music. And that kind of helps to
To calm, well,
to
manage it, I guess.
regulate you, almost like to regulate you,
Regulate. Okay. Okay.
it's like giving somebody a very deep hug. Sometimes that deep hug, after some time, it kind of like just calms you down and
Yeah.
kind of regulates you, your heart rate comes down and all. So that's, to me, that's what music does
Okay.
for me.
Okay. So, what is the greatest lesson that your life has taught you?
It's and such an interesting question. I think one of the greatest lessons that life has taught me is that everything is going to be okay. Yeah. So you just have to. I wish I could. I'm going to say God is faithful, and I would say to anybody who is not a believer, it might sound difficult, but it might sound like it doesn't make sense, but God is faithful, and once things are in His hands, you see His hand in your life. We see it daily, we see it. So that gives you that. It's almost like giving you like a this picture that I have in my mind is like just having like a river.
Okay.
a river that's just flowing steadily in the background, or rather, like below everything.
Yeah.
So everything is going on about you, but there's just that thing, like, just goes like a river. So I think one of the greatest things that life has taught me is that God is faithful, and the Holy Spirit is a great teacher.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great teacher. There's, sometimes I'll say to I was having a conversation with my sister, and I said to her, my baby sister, she's a banker, and I'll say to her, I said, do you know that the Holy Spirit knows about banking? He knows about banking. He knows about forensic accounting. So I don't know why you are disturbing yourself.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
stressing over it.
yeah. Why are you stressing about it? Because some of the things that I see the Holy Spirit teach me and friends of mine about their businesses and about whatever it is. Like, even you mentioned it even on your podcast, about podcasting, bringing people to you. This one says, this journey that you explained, Tele, is exactly the kind of journey that I was trying to describe with bookbinding. You just go, you have this random conversation, then you meet somebody like me. I don't know how you met Alex, your tech sound guy, but like, you just meet somebody. It seems like a random thing, but God just has a way of just, building it line upon line. So trusting God, I guess, is probably the biggest lesson that life has taught me, because he never fails. Oh God, I sound so very spiritual.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I sound so very spiritual,
There's nothing wrong with that.
You don't have those moments where you're like, oh God, what's going on? But it's like, honestly, it's because I can say that I've had all these different ups and downs, you just find out that at the end of the day, he just remains faithful. There have been times when my son, I just remember one time my son had a seizure, and he had a seizure. It was a really bad one. He was seizing for like 9 hours straight. This was it was a while ago, maybe like 10 years ago, and and I don't know, they probably didn't think he was going to make it, but after that harrowing experience, I remember coming back to the house, and for some reason we had a record player in the house with some records, and I just, as soon as I walked into the house, in fact my husband thought I was going crazy, I just walked into the house and I put on some music, and it was this Fleetwood Mac song, don't stop thinking about tomorrow, don't stop. So I just put it on the loudest, and was just dancing around the house like a mad person. People were just saying, just leave her, just leave her. We don't know what's going on with her, but she's working something else, But so there's some of those kind of times when it's like, you have to find a way to encourage yourself. You have to find a way to, like, almost talk back to this situation you're going through, or that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, God always finds you. He always finds you, sends somebody to you, sends a word to you, something you hear on TV, or you read in a newspaper, or you see on a billboard, or or something in your heart, or you wake up. Let me make you laugh. There was one day, and I think I've talked for too long already.
No, we're coming close to the end. We'll soon be ending. Okay. So, but we don't mind another story.
There was one day I woke up in the morning, and as soon as I woke up, the picture that came to my mind was a picture of a crane.
Yeah.
A crane, the bird.
Yeah.
So there's this cartoon picture of a crane that has a frog in his mouth. He's trying to swallow the frog, and in the cartoon, the frog is strangling the crane. So it's like you're trying to swallow the frog,
and the frog is trying to strangle.
Is holding your throat to say, this, you cannot swallow me. In fact, I'll kill you. He said, I'm holding your throat. So it's like the crane is the one that is in trouble. even though, and I woke up, that was the picture that just came into my mind. And honestly, at that point in time, I felt like I was that frog, but it's almost like, just holding on for dear life kind of thing, But so sometimes the Holy Spirit just comes, or it just wakes you up, and you find yourself singing a particular song or that kind of thing, So he's always there. He always knows how to find you. And I think that's one of the things that one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life, And my story kind of followed many this thing, and obviously the person I am today is not the person I was all those years back, but God always deals with you according to wherever you are, and so it makes the journey interesting. It makes the journey exciting.
So we fast come to the end of today's podcast. I really would want to have you back again, because this story we need to continue with this story, because this story is really interesting, but time constraints for today. But I always like to end the podcast on a note of hope. So what can you say to the people listening out there? What can you say to give them some kind of hope? If somebody's going through some situation, they're feeling like, okay, oh God, I'm having to start all over again. Or, oh God, this situation is overwhelming. I don't know what to do. What can you say to them to help them, to encourage them to remain resilient?
I know that there's people that say this too shall pass.
Yeah.
But I know what it's like to be really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But some things you just think, but how did I even get out of this? I remember when I first moved to the UK, my husband was staying with his friend. They were just sharing a flat or something. So we started looking for a flat, and it was just this situation. I remember this situation where it's like you have to come up with this large amount of money. It seemed such a large amount. How is it going to happen? That we have to find the deposit and find the something, and then find the rent, and then find the house, and so it was like, how are we going to? It was like hopeless. Let me put it like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, between you and me, where we found the money, I cannot remember. All I know is that one day we were in the house. One day we were in the flat, and we were living there. And I was like, because I still remember that feeling, that really hopeless feeling, and that's what I would say to anybody who is going through anything, like literally anything, God can always make a way. He will always make a way. What we need to manage really is our feelings or our emotions. How we are reacting and how we are encouraging ourselves, or getting ourselves around people that care for us. And there's nothing like being around people that care for you, people that can even speak a word to you that just puts things in perspective. And my pastor, Pastor Abby, she would say, my pastor's wife rather, and also my pastor, Pastor Abby, she would say, life happens. I remember when the first time I heard her say that, I was like, this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and I don't know what's going, and she's like, life happens, and it was like almost like pouring cold water on me, like, what, life actually happens, it just kind of resets your mind, and to say, okay, this is not like like the Bible will say, don't think that something strange has happened to you. Everything is common to man, and God with the trouble will make a way of escape, and that's been my story, and he has never failed. He's never failed.
He has never failed. Life may happen to you, but God is there. God is faithful. He has never failed, and he will never fail. So, Eme, how do people get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you for email marketing help, or they want you to teach them how to tell beautiful stories, or how do people get in touch with you? Because I'm going to put all the links to all your books in the in the show notes, if that's okay with you. I'll put all the links to the books in the show notes. So people who want to buy the books on your shoe, Talking to the Shoe, I'm definitely getting the book on Talking to the Shoe. And
yeah, you can find me on emebassey.com.
Okay.
My name is emebassey.com, or just Google me, or Eme Bassey, or you can go to the emailwriterslab.com. Email Writers Lab is where you would find information about courses. I'm actually running a workshop. It's probably too soon for your guests, but I probably will be running it every month. A
Okay.
workshop on telling your story.
Okay.
And writing your or crafting your origin story.
Okay.
And so I will be working with a small group each month. Just for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Because I believe everybody has something in their story that they can connect to what they're doing, and then also use it to connect to their audience.
Okay. So if you send us all the details of that, and then we'll put all of that in the show notes as well.
Okay.
So if you're having a future workshop, people can always join. At least they know where to find you and all of that.
Yes. I also help obviously course creators, CEOs to also tell their story with their email marketing. One thing that I like to do is create an email course, like a free email course that you can use to grow your audience and show your authority as well as your authenticity. So so I help with writing those kind of things. So yes.
Okay. So all the information will be in the show notes for the.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You must really be a very good host, because you made me talk more than they promised me talking this out. I was just talking, but
it was a nice conversation. Thank you for coming on. Really, really appreciate having you on. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much for joining me today on Navigating the Chapters of Challenge. Your time means the world to me, and I hope today's episode inspired and encouraged you. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a little hope and encouragement. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you love listening to podcasts. Want to support the show? It's easy. Just click the support button on Buzzsprout, and any contribution, big or small, helps us keep bringing you stories and insights that matter. And don't forget to check out our latest book, Navigating the Chapters of Challenge from Trials to Triumph, available now on Amazon. It's packed with inspiration and practical wisdom to help you navigate life's storms. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have a story to share, an idea, or just want to say hi, feel free to reach out. Your voice matters, and who knows, your story might just inspire our next episode. Thanks again for listening. Stay strong, stay inspired, and I'll see you on the next episode.